Welcome back to Professional Perspectives. I'm Praneeth and I'm here with my co-host Aarav. We're really excited to bring you the fourth episode of our series. If you tuned in last time, you'll remember our conversation with Mr. Hallinan, who shared some fantastic insights about navigating a career in law.
That's right, Praneeth. Today, we're shifting gears and diving into the world of sports. We're thrilled to welcome Mike Barnett, a professional golfer who now teaches at Bear Creek Golf Course in Arizona.
Mr. Barnett's journey from a professional player to an instructor is a great example of how pursuing a passion can lead to a fulfilling career. We'll explore not only his experiences as an athlete, but also the important role of teaching and mentorship in sports. Let's get started.
So, Mr. Barnett, what initially drew you to golf and how did it evolve into a professional career for you?
Well, it was pretty easy, actually. My father, who was an eye doctor by profession, was an avid golfer. And when I was about 6 years old, he took me out to the golf course with him one day and showed me how to putt and kind of got me hooked from that day forward. So I started at a very early age. Now, I grew up in Montana, so the seasons were short, but I did get started at age 6.
Yeah, so during your professional career, what was like a defining moment in your journey?
Well, I think there were several. Growing up and playing high school golf in Montana, I was able to have some success there. I was on 4 straight state championship teams. I won the individual title 3 out of those 4 years, and so that gave me a lot of confidence. So I came down to Arizona State University to play my college golf and enjoyed my golf career down here. I even had a little bit of a sideline one season. My freshman year, I walked onto the freshman basketball team, end up playing freshman basketball as well. So I enjoyed playing all the sports, but golf was my favorite. And there was toward the end of my college career, I just felt like I really wanted to go to the next level, and in order to do that, there were a couple of things I needed to accomplish. One was win the Montana Men's State Amateur at least once, and then also win the Phoenix Men's Amateur Championship at least once. So my last year in college, I was able to achieve both of those goals, and that kind of gave me the confidence to go to the next level.
So, you talked about playing golf in high school. How do you
Yes.
think that high school students can explore sports as a potential career in high school and further their interest in that sport?
Oh, without a doubt. You guys, I think one of the most important parts of my life. I had an opportunity to follow my father and my grandfather into being eye doctors, but I fell in love with golf, and I was fortunate to have athletic skills to enjoy other sports as well: basketball, football, baseball, all those things. So I played them all. But as I got a little older, golf became the obvious one that I was going to excel in. And the things that you really learn through sport, whether it's an individual sport like golf or whether it's a team sport, is you really, really learn how to deal with adversity, uh, never giving up, uh, teamwork if you're playing on a team, keeping your emotional balance when you're out there competing, just learning to, when you get knocked down, get back up again. Just a lot of skills. You learn how to interact with other people very well socially, sportsmanship. There's so many skills that you acquire through sport and through golf, for example. The beautiful thing about the game of golf is that you don't really have any teammates other than in a high school situation or a college situation. It's an individual sport, and so you've really got to rely on yourself. If you hit a bad shot or if you have a bad day, you can't point the finger at anybody else. You got to take full responsibility for whatever happened. Figure out what adjustments you need to make, and then be prepared the next day to try to do better.
Yeah. So for a high schooler, what was like a common or what's just some common misconceptions that people have about being a professional athlete? Or like what was something that wasn't exactly how you expected it to be when you were going into this career?
Well, I think you guys, at that point in your career, you're just doing what you love to do. I didn't really have any aspirations in high school too much to play professional golf. It was something that evolved more when I was in college. I just love to compete. I love to be the best I could be, and golf was kind of my vehicle to excel, and I enjoyed it so much. It wasn't ever like work to me. It was just a pleasure to be out on that golf course. I could even remember back one day, for anybody who plays around a golf, it will normally take, roughly 4.5 hours to play around a golf. I remember one day my mom dropped me off at the golf course when I was about 10 or 11 years old. I played 18 holes in the morning, had lunch, played another 18 holes in the afternoon. So I got 36 holes in. Then I went for a swim, called my mom, said, "Can I play another 18?" She said, "Sure." So I went and played another 18 holes. So I got 54 holes in. And then I called her up one more time. I said, "Mom, can I play another 18?" She said, "No, you can play 9 more, then you've got to come home for dinner." So I ended up with 63 holes in that one day just because I loved being out there.
How important do you feel that mentorship is in the sport industry, and how has mentorship specifically impacted your career?
Well, I just think that, in any walk of life, mentorship is hugely important. There are not very many people that are so gifted that they can excel and not have some mentorship. I know my first mentors were my grandfather and my great aunt Grace, who were both very fine golfers and in their own right. And they would, in the summers, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, they would take me out once a week and we would play golf, and they would share with me, their knowledge of the game and how to behave and how to swing a golf club and, enjoy the game. So that was really a helpful start for me to have their experience. And of course, my father, who played very, very good golf as well. He was 17-time club champion there at the course I grew up on. So he was a nice player as well. So I had, people that had some really good skills that were willing to share those with me. And so that was, that was huge in the early stages. I think, any sport in any walk of life, confidence is a very important element in our success. And, just like you guys have got the confidence to do what you're doing now, not everybody has that kind of confidence. And so it takes time to develop that and to believe in yourself and want to do something and be successful at it. And so having that nurturing along the way really helps one build your confidence and build your skills so that you feel good about your game when you're out there playing and that you feel like you can compete. And so any kind of mentorship, and I had some in college as well. I had one teacher that worked with me on a regular basis in college, and I owe him a lot of credit too for helping me develop my game as much as possible. So in every stage of my golf career, I really had some great mentorship. I think as I turned professional, I think I relied too much on myself and not enough on having a good swing coach back in the day to guide me even more and take me to another level. Unfortunately, I had a lot of back trouble that physically it shortened my career, but I really, as I look back on it, that's one of the things. I had good mentorship all the way up through college, and then really didn't have it after that point, and that could have made a huge, huge difference in my career. Even though I did have some back issues that ended my career, I think that would have helped me be even better than I was.
Yeah, and now that you're a mentor for lots of young golfers and stuff, what do you consider is essential for success in both mentorship and also just playing golf in general?
Well, I think it's a love of the game. I mean, you want to really love the game, and you really want to be committed to making sure that you work hard at it. Don't expect it to happen naturally, because golf, Praneeth, as you know, golf is a challenging game and it requires practice. So you've got to really be willing to pay the price to get out there, to practice hard, to try to practice correctly, and listen to your coaches when you've got a good swing coach or a good psychological coach. Now all the great players seem to have psychological coaches, as well as nutritionalists. I mean, they've got a whole staff now, helping them play on the PGA Tour. And it's not only a swing coach, but it's a mental coach, and it's a weight trainer. I mean, it's gotten so sophisticated; it's way beyond what it was when I played. But to be as competitive as you would like to be, you really, really need to have that. And so, I've kind of taken on the responsibility, since I had to stop my playing career and then really began my teaching career, to really make it a point to help young people uh, gain confidence through working on the right things, being dedicated, understanding, cause and effect when they have issues. I want them to long term become their own teacher. I think any really good quality teacher would like his student to be his own best teacher as time goes on. So, it's always been my goal to try to help you guys understand what you're doing. If you have a little bit of an error, what causes the error, and then what is the correction, so that you can build your own confidence in your game and your ability to make adjustments, because that's what the game of golf is all about. You have got to learn to make adjustments and keep a good attitude, because some days, the magic just isn't there, and you've got to prop yourself up and be your own best cheerleader. And if you understand the cause and effect of what goes on in your game, then you can make those necessary adjustments. And if they don't happen that first day, then get out there and work on it the next day, and good things will happen. So it really is important that you have some good guidance throughout your career, whatever it is. But in golf, especially because it's such a challenging game. And Praneeth, you've got a beautiful golf swing. I hope you continue playing yourself. And when you feel like you need some help, give me a holler. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
So, Mr. Barnett, is it possible for you to share a memorable success story from your teaching experience at Bear Creek?
Yeah, I think one of the more fun memories that I have is there was a young man who came to me as a freshman in high school, and his father was a teacher, so he came from a background of education, and he was so hard on himself, though. He just expected to be perfect all the time, and he got to the point, we worked together for a couple of years, and then he got to the point where he just felt that he wasn't good enough anymore, and so he literally stopped playing for almost a year. And then he realized how much he missed the game, and he loved the challenge. He loved being out there. And so he came back. We got together. We got him the dust off and got him going again. And he started winning golf tournaments. And so he went from quitting the game to coming back and winning tournaments in high school. So that was really, really rewarding for me to have him come back and reboot his game and have the kind of success that I know he wanted to have. He just needed to get away from the game a little bit, put things in perspective, and come back and get after it again. So that was very cool. I was very happy for him.
Yeah, so students like this um, who like are unsure about pursuing a career in sports, what was some advice that you gave him, or just give students in general who don't know whether they want to pursue a career in sports or not?
Well, that's a good question, you guys. I think what it boils down to is encouraging the student to be honest with themselves. I think that's the most important thing, and to let them know that it's okay if you choose not to do that as a career, or not to pursue it, from high school to college golf. That is okay, and not to feel like there's any pressure involved with moving to the next level if that's something that they would like to do. Just really have a good conversation with yourself and decide, is this what I really want to do? And if it's not, that's okay. You can enjoy the game of golf and the people that you'll meet and the places that you'll travel, through golf. And Praneeth, you and I talked a little bit about this too. When you get your golf game to a point where you can enjoy yourself and play at a reasonably high level, and it doesn't have to mean professional level, but you can in college or outside of college when you graduate, getting into business situations with clients or whatever associations you might be involved with. Golf is a tremendous asset. It's a great networking vehicle for a lot of businesses, and so I really encourage the honesty with yourself, follow your own heart, and just give it your best. And if golf isn't it, that's okay. I think it's very important that people just try to be as honest as they can with themselves, I guess is what I'm saying.
What advice would you give to someone who experiences setbacks or failures or a few bad days in their athletic journey?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the really great lessons that you can learn in golf. You watch the best players in the world, and they don't play great every day. I think it's important to help your students understand that golf is the kind of game where you have it one day and then you might not have it the next day. And it teaches you character to hang in there, not give up. Um, don't get too discouraged with it. I mean, you guys know you're both young, but in life, you're going to have setbacks. I don't care what line of work you're in. You're always going to have setbacks and things that don't go your way. So it's really more important how you react to those setbacks. Um, and I think that's the one thing that I hope to encourage all my students. When you're playing the game of golf, you're going to have bad days. When you have those bad days, learn to just take them with a grain of salt, put them behind you. The best players in the world have them. Just hang in there, do the best you can on that particular day, and the sun will come up the next day, and get out there and give it your best the next time you go. So it's really just trying to keep things in perspective. It's not life or death. No matter how good you want to be, it's not life or death. It's just something you choose to do. So it's how you deal with that adversity that really I think can make your life better, and so that you don't get too down on yourself and feel like giving up. Just realize that no matter who plays the game of golf, you're going to have your tough days. You just got to hang in there and be willing to go to bed that night and just know that you did the best you could that day and just give it your best the next time you get out there. So it's really keeping it in perspective and being willing to deal with that adversity in a positive way.
Yeah, and these are some common pitfalls that young athletes have, and as well as, like you said earlier, mentorship in later in their career. What are some other common pitfalls that they should avoid as they pursue a career in sports?
Well, I think, in this day and age, it's so specialized that you want to really have a goal, stay focused. I know, especially for a lot of young people, high school and college age, when you're kind of developing those skills and starting to think about maybe a profession, that you don't get sidetracked. You don't, get hang out with the wrong people that are going to get you doing things that you shouldn't be doing, that would affect your career. I mean, drinking alcohol at young ages and doing drugs or whatever else that will impede your ability to be the best you can be. So I think it takes real discipline and self confidence in yourself that you don't need to go do those other things to belong, in the group with those other people. If that's what they choose to do, fine, but that's not for you. So I think keeping your focus and making sure that the things that you're doing are going to add to your ability to be the best you can be, and not take away from the best of your ability. You know what I mean?
So, for a different kind of question, are there any specific books or resources or movies that you really like and would recommend for aspiring athletes or coaches?
Yeah, there's some really good ones. Just for technique, I think one of the finest, simplest, uh, fundamental golf books that I've ever read. I had a chance to work with a gentleman who was one of the great teachers and players in Europe. His name was John Jacobs, and he had some golf schools here in Scottsdale. And I had an opportunity to meet him and work with him for a while. And he has a book out. He's passed away, by the way, a couple of years ago in his late 80s, but his book is still timeless. It's called Practical Golf by John Jacobs. So for technique, that is a fabulous book. Um, when it comes to the mental side of the game, and this is where golf, is very, very intriguing to me and those of us that really enjoy the game. It's one thing to swing the golf club as well as you can. It's another thing to manage yourself on the golf course. How do you think? How do you deal with trouble? How do you get yourself out of that trouble? How do you deal with a bad break, where you hit a ball that hits a sprinkler head and goes out of bounds, things like that. And the book that I really love to encourage newer golfers with on the mental side of the game, which is absolutely as important as the physical side, is a book by Dr. Bob Rotella entitled Golf is Not a Game of Perfect. Great, great book. One of the most enjoyable workshops I've ever been through was spending a day with Dr. Rotella talking to him about the mental side of golf.
Yeah,
And
and I even remember when I was getting coaching lessons with you, you would always say, golf is not a game of perfect. So yeah,
Right.
that really resonates with me.
Yeah, oh, I'm glad you remembered that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
yeah.
awesome. Awesome. See, little things like that, it's interesting to hear, sometimes I don't get the feedback, but it's wonderful
Mhm.
to hear you say that and that it resonated
Yeah.
with you so that you can maybe use that as a vehicle to help yourself, enjoy the game.
Yeah.
There's another book for just amusement reading that I think is priceless, and that's called Golf in the Kingdom by Michael Murphy, and that's just a very fun, interesting journey of a golfer who has gone over to play at St. Andrews. They don't use that name in the book, and his experience, meeting the old pro there at the golf course and playing some golf with him and learning the lessons of life through golf with the old pro. And he started an ashram in Northern California, and he tried to take some of the things that he had learned from his experience playing golf that one day with the old pro. So it's a fascinating, fun journey if somebody's into golf enough that they like to read about it.
Yeah.
so, Mr. Barnett, what impact do you think technology has on training and performance in golf in today's world where technology is booming, and how can young athletes leverage it?
Well, you guys, it's crazy over my lifetime how technology has changed. Uh, the golf ball, for example, the way the golf balls were made when I was in high school, your age, the ball that I used back then versus the ball that they have now out on the market, the ball will travel with a driver. If I hit a driver back in, let's say, 1970 when I was a senior in high school, and I hit the same golf ball that they have today in 1970, I would probably hit it somewhere between 40 and 50 yards further. It's absolutely incredible. And then, of course, you've got the technology. They invented graphite shafts. We used to play with steel shafts back when I was younger, but they have predominantly now it's mostly graphite shafts, which has taken the game to a whole nother level as far as getting the shaft to be more consistent in its performance, getting it lighter so you can swing the club with more club head speed. The heads, they've got these exotic uh, combinations of graphite and steel in the heads now, so they can make the driver heads quite a bit larger, so they're more stable. So everything about the equipment has changed dramatically, And then the tools that the players use now are absolutely incredible. There's a mechanism called a TrackMan that was developed by NASA for aerospace research, and it's found its way into the golf world, and they've got it so that a player, and they're not inexpensive. Let me tell you, those things cost close to $25,000, and it's maybe 12 inches by 12 inches, and it sits on the ground behind you when you hit your shots. But the data that comes out of that, just for example, that it'll tell you the club face's relationship to the target that you're swinging at. It'll tell you the swing path in relationship to the target you're swinging at. It'll tell you the spin rate on the ball for optimum distance control. There's certain spin rates that you need to be within parameters there. It tells you the smash factor, which is how solid or unsolid you hit. So, I mean, you can literally, with that piece of machinery, really adapt and adjust your golf game. And most all the tour players now have them because they can afford them. Most amateurs cannot. But that's why you go seek out an instructor that understands those kind of things, and you don't have to have one. You've got the instructor to help you. But for those who have the money, those things are incredible tools to help golfers become better.
It's great to hear that technology is able to help golf in such a good way.
Yeah, it really, really has helped. Really has helped. And Praneeth, that the golf game is a challenging game. So I'm all for anything that can come along that will help people enjoy the game more. You still have to learn to swing the golf club, right? The club's not going to swing itself, but there are things that you can utilize that can help you become more proficient, more consistent, more quickly because of the technology.
And so now that we've got to what it is like now, how do you envision the future of sports, especially with golf and all these new technologies developing? Like, do you envision it to be easier to step into new sports, or how do you see it?
Well, I think, it always boils down to the human being, right? A person's desire, a person's ability, the competition that you're playing against. So it always gets back to a human level. I just think that with the technology that's out there, it will help the athletes become better and better and better. So, you still have to put on your cleats or put on your golf shoes. You still have to swing your golf clubs, until you have a robot doing that work for you. The human being's got to do it. So it can only go so far, but it's helpful. That's all I can tell you. It's helpful in helping you get better. But you still have to do the work. No substitute.
So, Mr. Barnett, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self when you were just starting out, what would it be?
Oh my goodness, that's an interesting question. Um, I think I would have given myself the advice that when I got into high school, not to play high school football. What happened is I was playing all the sports and I got a couple of injuries in football that affected my golf career a few years later down the line. With a bad back, a bad knee, things that I didn't realize at the time. Playing a game like football and hanging out with my buddies playing football, that would affect my future as a golf professional, but it did. So as I look back on it, that's the one thing that I would have changed. I would not have done that. I wouldn't have played football.
So one thing is, how would this teamwork from football have helped you though? Like, would you say like, did it cultivate your mindset even in golf, even though it's an individual sport? Did that teamwork still affect like how you are today as a person?
Well, I think, you guys, the one thing is we're social beings, and we interact with people. And I really want to encourage you guys and the people, the young people who are coming up through high school and college now, to not lose track of staying in touch with other human beings. I think texting and things like that are very effective, but keeping in touch with people. We are social beings, and I think that's something that we've got to be careful of, because you lose that social skill of interacting with a fellow human being, and the reward of having a close friend that you can sit down and talk to. And again, texting and calling on the phone, that's all good, but you know just getting together with somebody or getting together with a group of friends, doesn't that make you guys feel good, to hang out with your friends?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's the one thing I would I'd like to encourage all young people is please don't lose sight of the importance of personal interaction, with your classmates and your friends. Like I said, the technology is great. I use texting even at my age. I do some texting. Uh, I don't do a lot of emails, as Praneeth knows. I hate emails, but in the world that you guys are growing up with, those things are very vital to you. Uh, but always go back to the importance of trying to shake somebody's hand and look them in the eye and get to know them and spend time with them. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
definitely a great piece of advice.
Mhm.
What's one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember about pursuing their career in sports if they want to do a career in sports?
Well, a couple of things, be committed, be willing to sacrifice, understand that the downside to sports is that you can get injured at any time and your career can be over. Um, that's kind of what happened to me a number of years into my career. I started having some physical problems, and that stopped me. Now I was able to change and go from playing to teaching, which was a great vehicle for me to stay in touch with the game of golf. But if whatever sport you get into, just know that your playing career can have a short life cycle, and at any moment it can be gone, and you need to be prepared for that mentally. Not to worry about it, but just be mentally prepared for that, and have a plan B, whatever that is. Whether it's if you're a good accountant or a good engineer and you have a mind for that, but you love your golf, pursue your golf, but get your engineering degree. Have a backup plan. That's the most important thing you can do, because as an athlete, I mean, tomorrow your career can be over.
Yeah, that's a very good point for young athletes, especially because we feel like we're invincible right now, but
Yep.
then we don't realize that we definitely need a backup plan.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, and like you said, again, social stuff. You said community involvement is really important for athletes. How can high schoolers start giving back to sports too? Like giving volunteering in sports or just in general. How can they give back to sports?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that's where you see a lot of professional teams do this, and even in a high school level, you could do things like this. If you have a charity that you're involved with or you'd like to help, whether it's the Salvation Army, whether it's children that are disabled, whatever. Find a good cause that you really feel inspires you, and do simple little things like have a food drive for the poor people, that live on the streets, and through your sports, you've got a platform when you're an athlete, that you can utilize to help you help others. And I think one of the greatest things about sports is that there's an interaction between you and other people, whether it's the fans in the stands watching you play. They enjoy watching you play, and if you happen to become a very good player, whatever it is that you do, you'll get that position that people admire and respect, and you can use that as a tool to do good things for other people. So, the greatest gift, and you guys may have already heard this or talked to your parents about it, but one of the greatest gifts in life is what you can give back to others.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'd like to, wish you luck in your career going on in the future. And yeah,
I appreciate it very much, and I sure wish the same for you guys. I'm very impressed that you guys have the ambition and desire to do what you're doing. It's really a cool thing that you're doing, and I love being a part of it. So continued good luck to you guys too.
Definitely.
Yeah,
thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and sharing your wisdom and your insights. And thank you so much.
You're very welcome, guys. Thank you for having me, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah,
Take care.
Have a great evening.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much to Mr. Barnett for sharing his insights and experiences with us today.
Absolutely, Praneeth. We hope this conversation inspires you to explore your passions, especially in the realm of sports. Remember, pursuing a career in athletics can lead to many exciting opportunities.
And don't forget to subscribe and join us for our next episode, where we'll uncover another fantastic career path.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep pursuing your professional perspectives.
See you next time. Thank you so much to Mr. Barnett for sharing his insights and experiences with us today.
Absolutely, Praneeth. We hope this conversation inspires you to explore your passions, especially in the realm of sports. Remember, pursuing a career in athletics can lead to many exciting opportunities.
And don't forget to subscribe and join us for our next episode, where we'll uncover another fantastic career path.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep pursuing your professional perspectives.
See you next time.